Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course from New Earth One Network. This is designed exclusively for your higher self connection and embodiment.
Welcome, beloved hearts. This is Anrita Melchizedek, and I'd like to welcome you to our latest practitioner training on quantum jumping and timelines of self-mastery, New Earth consciousness codes. So I'll tell you a little bit about what the New Earth consciousness codes are first, and then we will jump into the quantum jumping. So the New Earth consciousness codes are essentially a quantum wholeness and subconscious recoding healing modality powered by our beloved I Am Presence and Mother, Father, God, assisting us to expand our consciousness and experience our light body as we unlock and decode, release, then rewrite and recode our limiting beliefs and feelings, emotions, judgments, and victim persecutor consciousness. All the thoughts that are really mostly within the subconscious mind that create those blockages that don't allow us to be able to really just with grace and ease shift into the highest timelines, what we call soul alignment. And essentially what we're doing as these awakened souls, as New Earth guides, is that our physical bodies are becoming our light bodies. So with infusions of photonic light and activation of the plasma light from within. And all of this occurs when we start to activate those light codes, those consciousness codes from within, which take us into the timelines most aligned to the next level of our soul's forward evolution, our soul's blossoming, and of course, deeper into service to Mother Earth and all her life. It's to catch those thoughts that come up for us. And the way that we do this is 0-point presence, and to deepen into that 0-point presence, which is essentially activation of the stargate of our loving hearts. We experience ourselves as a witnessing presence to our beloved I Am. So we do some beautiful sacred space settings to activate these consciousness codes from within. And what we do is that we activate the toroidal field and we activate the stargate of the loving heart, and we use the sacred geometry there of Metatron's cube. But we start essentially with the golden sun frequency from within the loving heart, and that's the golden sun sphere. And that beautiful golden sun sphere starts to expand initially into the Vesica Pisces, and that center of that Vesica Pisces is really that 0-point presence. And from the Vesica Pisces, then we experience the first set of circles that create then the seed of life and the egg of life, the fruit of life, and continues to expand into a beautiful golden sun sphere, 54 feet in diameter around us. And within that, then, we experience Metatron's cube, which has 13 whole spheres within it, or rather 12 whole spheres. We have a central sphere, we've got 6 around that, and another 6 around that. And these spheres then start to activate depending on the vortex, whether it's spinning in a clockwise direction or it's spinning in a counterclockwise direction, respectively. And as we spin this in a counterclockwise direction, what we're doing is that we're focusing on a very specific activation at that time to be able to experience the 0 point presence and to observe as the witnessing presence all the ego aspects coming up. So we're very aware of the ego's games. We're just observing how it plays itself out, what those false beliefs are, what those judgments are. So we're coming from a higher self aspects, observing the ego aspects, and then we're moving deeper into clearing what is coming up in that specific activation, whether it's around our health, whether it's around our service work, whether it's around our relationships. And we're taking ourselves into that timeline. We're stepping back along those lower timelines, those karmic timelines, in order to clear and release and dissolve that timeline, because it is no longer needed in this now. In each 0 point presence, in each now moment, what we're doing is that we are activating the next level of our souls blossoming from this now moment. So we're collapsing and dissolving a lot of old timelines. And simultaneous to this, we are quantum jumping into the timelines that best serve us, that really assist us to experience ourselves as the light of God we are. And once more, this observing is that initial behavior that we take ourselves into to really just allow all to release without attachment, without judgment, without blame. Because none of us need to blame ourselves. None of us need to be that inner critic. And we're just releasing and loving ourselves, and from that space then of that 0 point presence, what we're doing is that we're starting to rewrite that next 0 point. So we're continuously ascending in the same moment. And this is just a rather powerful way to work with these activations and deactivations that we're going to utilize for this quantum jumping. As we're releasing from the subconscious mind, what we're experiencing is that the 13 whole spheres of Metatron's cube are going to be spinning in a counterclockwise direction. And then as we're rewriting, those spheres will spin in a clockwise direction around the body and energy field. And then as all settles, as the spin stops, we reach that next 0 point. And this is essentially just feeling that presence of your divinity within, feeling that innocence, feeling that joy, feeling that delight, that gratitude, that appreciation. And that comes when we are able to stabilize ourselves through the consciousness and light that we are in each 0 point presence. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of an understanding of what we experience as we unlock and release these false beliefs and judgments. I also wanted to share here, one of the things that we do is that we also experience a theta state or theta-gamma state of consciousness. And for awakened souls, this is our natural state of beingness when we move into meditation or we start to go deeper within, because that alignment is naturally there. And that alignment can also be experienced as we breathe through the fluorescent tube of light, as we bring in a pillar of light around us, as we activate initially the loving heart, then the pineal gland to give us that vision and insight and wisdom and understanding, and link that higher mind into the loving heart. So this is all part of what we do in this process of quantum jumping and being the witnessing presence to our beloved I am. The same moment when we are caring, what we do is that we call upon Mother, Father, God, and our beloved I am presence to recode and reprogram the DNA so that we as co-creators and the witnessing presence of the beloved I am simply observe all that is taking place. Now, due to this ability to be the witnessing presence, we don't have to do this simply for ourselves. we can do this for others too. So once we're able to activate the Metatrans cube around our body and energy field, once we're able to feel that alignment and connection to our higher selves and beloved I am presence and Mother, Father, God, we are naturally seated in this Theta-gamma state. And what we also experience then with that Theta-gamma state is often the sonic frequencies within the inner ears. So all in the higher dimensions is about sound and sacred geometry and color. There's a lot of cosmic ray frequencies that we're working with, apart from the frequencies we experience through the sun, the moon, the planets, and of course all the beautiful stars that also hold their own frequency. When we start to release then all that no longer serves us, we move into that next 0 point presence as the consciousness codes activate from within to bring forth that new creation for us through our new earth realities. All right, so quantum jumping seems to definitely be quite a popular subject. And in my experience of quantum jumping, all timelines present simultaneously, and it becomes then the choice of which timeline we would like to move into. We can step into those timelines and new earth realities that are highest aligned and in the greatest levels of integrity. So integrity is also an integral part to much of what we are experiencing as we dream our new earth realities into being. Literally by jumping or expanding into the timelines that flow with the greatest levels of grace and ease and sovereignty and empowerment, joy and abundance, creativity, unity and love. And when we're doing this too, we also drawing to us our future selves. We then stepping into the future and bringing that back into this now moment, if one wants to call it that. Or another way to say it is that we are actually simply living the future. So we're living from that highest aspect of ourselves that holds forth all that we need in any given now moment as manifest and co-creators to the divine. And all this then also, the quantum jumping process is really essentially, in a way, the merging and integration of our divine feminine aspects and our divine masculine aspects and deeper levels of birthing of that inner Christ. And with that, then we move from the soul seed and star seed into the galactic aspects of ourselves, and then from there into also God consciousness. So there's a lot that we're experiencing as we become our higher selves here upon the sacred earth. So the reason I wanted to share quite a bit in terms of how the sacred geometry works and how from that we can deepen into this theta or theta-gamma state of consciousness is that when we are working with our beloved light tribe and taking them through these various activations and deactivations, the deactivations being the clearing work through the subconscious mind and the releasing of those false beliefs and judgments and victim persecutor consciousness and all that goes with that attachment to the karmic timelines. Our beloved light tribe does not necessarily need to also activate a lot of these sacred geometries. You have that gift. You are an innate quantum healer through simply expanding your own consciousness and light, and you will utilize your frequency to assist them in activating the Metatrans cube around your soul tribe client, and also with that, the spinning of the spheres, either counterclockwise to release and then clockwise to recode and rewrite from each 0 point presence. So let me tell you a little bit about the activations and deactivations that we're going to work with. So it's a vagus nerve breath reset. So the vagus nerve, or in fact the entire nervous system, actually connects into the subconscious mind. So the moment that we experience then inability to process whatever those fears are coming through from the ego, or whatever those misalignments are, because essentially this is alignment and misalignment we're working with here too. This affects our nervous system and our central nervous system. And the first thing that we may do is go back into that fear, or go into the freeze or the flight mode, depending on how our own nervous system responds. So you take yourself and you take your beautiful soul client through what we call the vagus nerve breath reset. And this reset, this vagus nerve breath reset, actually just assists in relaxing the response of the body. And it's a beautiful breath too that assists even yourself and your soul client to deepen into that theta and theta-gamma wavelength state of consciousness, one could say. And really also assists in this decoding and recoding process of these consciousness codes from within, these light codes activating. So this is a very powerful breath that you will start with, and then you can start to move into different things for yourself or your soul client. You can experience the light healing infusion chamber of light, and this light healing infusion chamber of light calls forth the crystalline life code seed atoms to spin the subatomic particles within the body and increase light. And of course, so it's really just to understand that initially, when we are going atomic, when the subatomic particles are spinning in that increased light frequency, there is a point where we can go nuclear too. And we're either going to go nuclear in our anger and in our rage, or we're going to go nuclear into activating the light body through also the photonic light. As I expressed, the photonic light is essentially the light of our higher selves. And that comes through as beautiful diamond white light through the antecorona, and it also is expressed down the spine and then into the different body parts and organs, while we are clearing the density from within and becoming more our higher selves here. But also the plasma light frequencies are working from within. And those plasma light frequencies actually shifts the consciousness of the cells and physically transform the cells from the carbon-based frequency to the silicate and then into crystalline consciousness. So this is a very powerful one, this light healing infusion chamber, because it brings forth the crystalline life code seed atoms that come through from that photonic light infusion and also from that plasma light frequency. And it starts to bathe the central nervous system and the sensory system, and also create changes within the biocircuitry and also the brain chemistry, and particularly the endocrine system, bringing forth this beautiful frequency that just settles and relaxes the body, but really also accelerates that clearing process through the subconscious mind. We also work with the diamond purification rings of light, and in this newer consciousness code activation, we're working with the diamond ray of purity and innocence, and that really is essentially this beautiful diamond light that spirals forth from the cosmic heart of Mother, Father, God. And with here, we're bringing in these diamond purification rings of light around the body and energy fields, overlighted, of course, by our beloved I Am Presence and Mother, Father, God. And this also further releases frozen miasms and other negative energies. And frozen miasms are essentially frozen thought forms that we're on a stuck mode with, one could say. They're just looping over and over and over again. It's like having the same false belief, the same thought that creates a contraction within the body that actually essentially isn't true. And this diamond purification rings of light activation goes right into releasing a lot of that too, which is very powerful. And then, of course, that brings forth or calls forth greater levels of your own divinity, your purity, your innocence, and infuses that within the body too. The 0 point inner golden sun toroidal field activation is also a really important one, where we experience a toroidal field through the stargate of the loving heart. And the toroidal field, with the toroidal fields, you have two vortices that activate within that donut-shaped sphere. which comes in around the body and energy field. And the bottom vortex spins in a counterclockwise direction, and it's spinning out and releasing and clearing a lot of the old false beliefs and judgments. That's the feelings, the emotions, the related actions. And the top toroidal field is spinning in a clockwise direction. Now, 3D and 4D is still related to the lower chakras initially. So when we're clearing from the lower dimensions, we're usually doing that through the base, through the sacral, through the solar plexus. And then once we move into the heart, we're having that heart expansion. And then fourth and fifth dimension, we're moving above that. We're moving from the heart into the thymus, into the throat, the third eye and crown chakra. So that's why we're getting this spin. And then as those two toroidal fields connect into this heart chakra and thymus chakra, what we experience then is that ability to deepen into that 0 point presence and also deepen into self-love and self-worth and self-appreciation. So all those false beliefs and judgments about being unworthy or not being good enough or imagining that we're less than someone else, all of that is going to come through to be cleared too. We do a very powerful one here called the Pineal gland, Golden Sun Stargate activation. And once more, that is very much related to visualizing once more that inner Golden Sun Christ light that is the soul frequency expanding from the pineal gland. And that really takes us beyond the veils of illusion. And one could say essentially that the pineal activating is really then one of those beautiful frequencies that offer us that wisdom and higher mind intelligence and really can shift us from one realm to another. In fact, our pineal gland offers us the entire universe. It's all within us. And it takes us deeper into timelines of self-mastery and, of course, also into all our beautiful gifts that are pretty natural for us as new earth guides, the clairvoyancy, the ability to deepen into intuition, the ability to really experience and know that next level of our service work. It's just a natural flow in listening to our universe and hearing those messages in our own unique way. And lastly, through the pineal gland too, we get the DMT releasing. We start to experience from the dreaming state into our awakened states. We start to dream our newest realities into being. And also what the pineal emits are these tiny little crystals that look like glitter. And those crystals are crystalline consciousness. So the pressure through the cerebrospinal fluid puts the pressure on the pineal gland. And then what that does is it releases these little crystals that actually change color, and then they start to move into the bloodstream into different parts of the body where it's a crystalline frequency that's shifting the consciousness of the cells from that carbon into the silicate into crystalline consciousness. And those crystals would shift according to, depending on what level of light body activation you're moving into or going through. We also do a very beautiful one called the I Am Avatar Soul Embodiment, photonic light activation. And this is what I've been talking to you quite a bit of how that beautiful diamond white photonic light is the light of our higher selves and multidimensional selves and future selves. And all of that then is coming through into the body and assisting us to really expand into those patterns of perfection, but also to hold our consciousness in that 0 point presence continuously. So that becomes a very important one as we deepen into becoming our higher selves here. All is integrity, we're all is soul aligned, where we may not necessarily take the easy way. And also New Earth and dreaming that into being, we have to put that effort in. So we can't just imagine, oh, I'm going to magnetize, I'm going to manifest, I'm going to bring into my reality what I need. We actually have to align our frequency and our consciousness not only in the expansion of our own consciousness, but also in the body's consciousness to that frequency that we want to move into in this realm of quantum jumping. We can expand into that realm, into that higher dimension, but we have to hold that frequency too. And that is on one level related to the density that we may have in the body. And of course, the more dense that we are, the more clearing that we have to do within the body, the harder it is for us to embody our higher selves. So that's really why we call forth the deepening and integration and embodiment of our higher selves and beloved I am presence. Not only is it a natural part of our soul's forward evolution, but it really does assist in clearing and releasing, particularly that victim persecutor consciousness aspects of ourselves and the ability to simply dissolve and collapse old timelines and to sustain us, to quantum jump into that next timeline where we can hold that frequency as the light of God that we are. And from there, then we move into the heart streaming and manifestation activation, further clearing of blockages that create misalignment to the soul's purpose. And then we also offered opportunity to deepen into timelines of initiation through Lord Melchizedek's golden star tetrahedron mission codes activation. And as I expressed in the higher dimensions, everything is about those beautiful sacred geometries. And the star tetrahedron is one that we use quite a lot in activating the light body Merkaba field. It's also the shape that aligns us into the original divine 8 cells within the perineum center, and it's also really one that we use quite a lot, the spinning of that through the chakras or through various chakras in both a counterclockwise and a clockwise direction. So it's a very powerful geometry, sacred geometry, that really takes us into that 0 point presence. We also have here the inalchemical marriage and Kundalini activation, golden age timelines of self-mastery, Akashic record access, crystalline solar plasma light DNA chamber of light. That's really a beautiful one where we're activating what we call the fire letters within each of the 12 strands DNA, as well as reprogramming and recoding the sacred geometries, light codes, and numerologies within that 12 strand DNA. And then the last new consciousness code that we really move into here is this quantum jumping itself. Although everything that we've been doing here has been aligning us to the highest timelines, we really want to experience that ever present now moment of the soul's forward evolution, of our heart streaming, of that joy, of that abundance, of that next level service work. And we will program that and release what may again be blocking that and just rewrite from this now point, this 0 point presence. So this is just really such a powerful practitioner training. There is a masterclass. I know some of you have done that already. And now's the opportunity to step forward and to offer these one-on-one sessions for your own beautiful, beloved light tribe. What this will assist you to do for your light tribe is to clear the subconscious programs, old stories, and thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are needing to be unlocked and decoded, recoded, and rewritten to all that is highest aligned. Of course, you're going to be assisting them to expand their consciousness through the loving heart and through the pineal gland. And most importantly, probably given that this is quantum jumping, if you can assist them to expand into timelines that flow with the greatest level of grace and ease and sovereignty and empowerment, joy, abundance, and so much more. So we invite you to consider joining us in this powerful practitioner training and look forward to seeing you soon. So from my heart and to yours, to the cosmic heart of all creation, blessings in love. Namaste.